the self-sabotage, the perfectionism, the imposter syndrome, the fear of rejection, the fear of losing everything, all these sort of things that might be going on. So we need to understand what those patterns are. When we're moving into the top space, then it's a case of, who are you? What makes you tick? What makes you cry? Tell me about a time when you felt you saw something that made you swell up with emotion so powerfully that you just wanted to tell everyone about it, and it could be a good thing. And then we can start understanding, pulling together little pieces of who you are.
What did that teach you about people in the first 17 years? What did that teach you in the first year of doing that? What did that teach you about people? I'll just start something maybe simple, maybe complex. What did that teach you about people in the first year of doing that, Andrew?
In the first year of doing that, I have to think back. That's a long way now. The people doing the job had, and it's including myself in this, you had to find a way to, and anybody in the military, anybody in a medical situation will know about this, but you've got to kind of compartmentalize, build up the walls. You can't get too connected to the emotion of it, or else you won't be able to do your job properly, if you get my meaning. So there's an element of wall building going on. Now, different people did that in different ways. Some people actually turned it into some element of cruelty, and they could actually be quite nasty in the way that they approached it, or sarcastic, shall we say, and they can be quite mean. I always tried to be empathetic and kind as much as I could. I remember one of the first jobs I was on, it was do you have bingo in America? Do you have bingo? You don't do bingo. Do you have bingo halls? Probably not. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, it was a bingo hall that had gone bust, and the guy running it, I was sort of showing some potential purchases around and met the guy, and he said to me, and I said, I've only been there a few weeks, and he says, "You're not like the others. You're actually a human being. The others, I feel this sort of dead cold look, but I can see, you actually care," kind of thing. So you do, but you have to hold it back a little bit, because if you care too much about things that could go down or whatever, then you can get caught up in it. So you do have to. So you can still be human and empathetic, and this is the thing. We had people where we got Christmas cards from employees. There are situations where people thanked me for being made redundant, not because they were glad of it, but they knew because you were open and you communicated with them and let them know what was going on and were appreciative of the work they were doing. Then, when it got to the point of it's not work, they knew that you had done your best and it wasn't your fault. They weren't blaming you. It was situations outside of that. So you can navigate that way through.
It sounds like a challenging position for someone who is a recovering people pleaser with a high empathy and a high care.
Well, that's how I wasn't even recovering. Imagine the phone calls that I'm having, telling people they're not getting paid, they're not going. So little scarred on the phone side of things for sure. and just about everybody I knew that wasn't involved in that space that I knew from other things. So it was like, oh, is that what you're going to do? Yeah. Well, I see. Hope I don't meet you, because obviously that I'll be the Grim Reaper. It's like a bad image. So also jokingly, but it was all a case of. And I have had physical threats. I've had some rather violent people staring in my face. I've had people telling me, "How do you sleep at night?" All these sort of things as well. So you do get abuse as well. But all good. So anyway, point B. Now the other thing around that was, of course, when I say the directors lose their powers, but unless they are actually genuinely shown to be doing something dodgy, you still work with them. They know their business. Everybody knows their business. It's not our job to know everything. This is why I end up being very useful as a coach. I don't need to know. I just need to be able to understand enough and challenge things here and there, but work with what we've got. So you work with the directors. So through that as well is you then do realize the emotional connection that exists between a business owner and their business, which certainly at that time wasn't really talked about. Business is business. That's what you do. This is systems and processes. And yes, I get all that. But at the heart of it is this human being. And when they're watching everything that they have built collapse in front of them, it has an impact on their confidence and their belief and all the rest of it. And luckily, this wasn't a situation for me, but I'm not too far removed. I know other people who I worked with where basically the director, shall we say, didn't make it. They got so depressed by it that that committed suicide. And that is not that uncommon. And we're talking about people who, okay, they may have made a mistake, but not always. But who hasn't made a mistake, you know? Generally, usually genuine, honest people who have done their best, tried to put other people first, put themselves last, put all their money in, lost everything, and kept going. So when I stepped out of working for it was KPMG I worked for, and set on my coaching, my initial niche was helping people going through some sort of financial difficulty and then insolvency deal with the emotional stress of going through it.
What might an engagement for you, like a coaching discussion or call or an event, what might someone experience in something like that? And that's a big umbrella. A lot of different things to go there.
It depends where they are. So, because of business enjoyment is an overarching thing, it's a concept. It's a move. So we've got to get them up to the 7, and then we're at the 7. We want to move beyond that. So there's a lot. So if we're below 7, then we've got to look at what traps are running, what patterns we're running, what beliefs we're running that we are holding on to that are creating the pains and the suffering that we're enforcing on ourselves, or the self-sabotage, the perfectionism, the imposter syndrome, the fear of rejection, the fear of losing everything, all these sort of things that might be going on. So we need to understand what those patterns are. When we're moving into the top space, then it's a case of, who are you? What makes you tick? What makes you cry? Tell me about a time when you felt you saw something that made you swell up with emotion so powerfully that you just wanted to tell everyone about it, you know, and it could be a good thing, you know, whatever it might, that's, and then we can start understanding, pulling together little pieces of who you are.